All right, let's get into Kid Cudi's testimony. Um, Kid Cudi, who described himself as an actor, musician, when asked, identified Cassie Ventura via a photo. He said they were friends and briefly dated. He said they met around 2008 and dated around 2011. When Cudi and Ventura first started dating, he said he understood, and I quote, that she and Sean Combs had some problems and they weren't dating anymore. He said in December 2011, he received a call from Ventura around 6 a.m. and she told him Combs had found out that they were dating. Cudi said that he was confused when she said that because he didn't think that she was still dating Combs. She asked me to pick her up, he testified. She sounded really stressed on the phone, nervous, scared, so I went to pick her up. Cudi then testified that after he picked up Ventura in December 2011, they went to a nearby hotel and spoke on the phone with Capricorn Clark, one of Combs' employees. Clark seemed, and I quote, very scared, sounded like she was on the verge of tears, according to Cudi's testimony. Clark told the two that Combs and an associate were inside Cudi's house and she was in a car outside waiting for them. Cudi then testified, and I quote, she was forced to go along with them over there. On the way back to his house from the hotel, Cudi said he called Combs. When Cudi asked Combs if he was in his house, Combs said, I just want to talk to you. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. I'm on my way. I'll be right there, Cudi said. I'm over here waiting for you, Combs replied, according to the testimony of Kid Cudi. Cudi continued to describe his return to his home in December 2011 after meeting Ventura at a hotel and after Ventura told him that Combs found out about the two dating. Outside of his house seemed pretty normal, according to his testimony, but then he later realized that his security cameras had been moved, and he was not the one to move them. Inside the house, some gifts he had brought for his family were opened and on the kitchen counter. His dog was locked in a bathroom, but he had not shut the dog in there before he left. This is according to Cudi's testimony. He testified that he spent the holidays with Ventura at her family's home in Connecticut. Combs texted him a couple of times while he was there. Cudi said, and I quote, I guess he was in the dark about things and wanted to talk, but at that point, post break-in, I did want to talk. He said that he told Combs, and I quote, you broke into my house, you messed with my dog, I don't want to talk to you. Valid. Cudi said that after he returned to his home, he called Combs again asking where he was. Combs said he was on his way. Cudi said, and I quote, I wanted to confront him. I wanted to fight him. I don't think that was the best scenario. He is cuckoo-cuckoo. He don't have nothing to lose. Cudi said he then decided to call the police. He recalled thinking at the time, and I quote, I don't know who he has with him. I don't know what his intentions are. Cudi said he filed a police report that day about the apparent break-in. I mean, you got text messages of him admitting it, he chilling in your house. And who the fuck opened somebody else's Christmas gifts? That's a whole different type of weird. But more in part 2, that'll be linked in the comments. One morning in January 2012, Cudi said his dog watcher called him from his home to tell him that his car was on fire. He said that at the time he was at his ex-girlfriend's sister's house, which was about 45 minutes away from his home. A friend of his sent him photos of his damaged car in his driveway before he arrived back home. The jury reviewed said photos. On the witness stand, Cudi described the photo as, and I quote, the damage of a Molotov cocktail in my Porsche. He went on to state, and I quote, it looked like the top of my Porsche was cut open, and there's where the Molotov cocktail was put in. Cudi said his Porsche could not be salvaged after the damage following the fire. He said law enforcement found a Molotov cocktail in the driver's seat, but once he arrived at his home, it was kind of just burnt up on the ground near the vehicle. When asked for his reaction to the incident, he just gave a deadpan response. What the fuck? I don't know what else they expected from him. The jury took a short break. During the break, Judge Aaron Subramaniam asked Prosecutor Maureen Comey if the prosecution was still on track for the day. Comey said that the testimony of George Kaplan's cross-examination took 3 times as long as prosecutors had anticipated, but she says she believes that they are still on track to get through the witnesses that they expected to call today by the end of the day. As the break was coming to an end, Kid Cudi was placed back on the witness stand as the jury re-entered. The last time Cudi said that he saw Ventura was at a private club in LA just a few days after the 2012 incident regarding his Porsche. He said he did reach out to Combs after the car fire and said, and I quote, finally told him that we needed to meet up to talk. He went on to say, and I quote, he had been wanting to talk to me, so after the fire, I was like, this is getting out of hand. I need to talk to him. Cudi testified that the meeting with Combs was just the two of them alone. When he walked in, he said this, and I quote, Sean Combs was standing there staring out the window with his hands behind his back like a Marvel supervillain. He went on to say that he had told Combs that he believed Cassie when she said that they were done, and he just took her word for it. They were done. Do y'all not understand how crazy and abusive this man is? Like Cudi, he burned up your shit and broke into your house. On cross-examination, Cudi confirmed that DNA was collected from his vehicle after it was damaged in the 2011 fire. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Cudi if he was aware that the DNA results that came back were from a woman. They said that DNA was taken from the car. Anywho, Cudi said he didn't hear any follow-up from the authorities about the results. Like, are they implying that the Molotov cocktail came from a woman because they said that was burnt up? So, on cross-examination, Cudi testified that when his relationship with Cassie Ventura ended, they just stopped talking after being in contact almost every day for about a year. That's pretty much how breakups work, especially when somebody has been forced back to an abusive ex. Like, we break, why we still talking every day? Brian Steele, for the defense, asked Cudi, she played you, right? Cudi said, yes. Do y'all not, like, you're still sitting in court regarding this woman being abused, and that's how you fit. You know what? I'm finding it. More updates in part 3, linked in the comments. Part 3. Cudi described Combs' calm demeanor during the meeting as off-putting. He said, and I quote, I was upset to find that she had kind of went back to him. When Ventura arrived at the meeting, she explained, we fell in love and things just happened, he said. When Cudi asked Combs about his car, he responded, and I quote, I don't know what you're talking about. But child. Cudi pulled his hand out of a handshake, and Combs asked him what was wrong. He said, wait, I thought we were cool, Cudi recalled. He confirmed with Combs that his word was that he didn't have anything to do with the damage to Kid Cudi's Porsche. Cudi and Combs ran into each other again at the Soho house in 2015. Combs, who was there with his daughter, pulled Kid Cudi aside and apologized. He said, and I quote, man, I just want to apologize for everything and all that bullshit, Cudi recalls Combs saying. Cudi testified he found peace with the situation with Combs after that. That was the last thing I was expecting to get from him. Maybe find some peace in him not whooping on people. You know what? During cross-examination, Cudi said he wanted to clarify that he believes Combs asked him to do a song with Ventura in 2010 rather than 2011. The first time Ventura spoke to him about her relationship with Combs was around Thanksgiving of 2010, according to Cudi's testimony. That's when she was telling me she was having some problems, he said. Cudi testified about the 2011 incident in which he asked when he said Combs told him that he was inside his house and confirmed there was no damage to his home after the apparent break-in, minus him going through your damn Christmas gifts, opening them up and locking your dog up. He said Combs didn't threaten him when he spoke that day. Cudi confirmed that Ventura had told him that there was physical abuse in her relationship with Combs, but she hadn't told him about the sexual abuse. But you still felt that she was playing you, or that she played you when y'all broke up and she wasn't in communication with you after her boyfriend, on again, off again, he was just going to be her boyfriend till the very end, blew up your car. Defense attorney Brian Steele completed his cross-examination and thanked Cuddy for his testimony. Cuddy responded, and I quote, "Yeah, no problem." Defense attorney Steele did ask Cuddy if Combs' treatment of Cassie Ventura bothered him because he was in love with her. Cuddy said yes. He also Steele suggested that Cuddy that during the time of his meeting with Combs, that Cuddy's understanding was that he and Combs were in the same position, having been played by Ventura, and that Ventura was living a double life. He said, "The person who played you and the person who played Sean was Miss Ventura. True?" Kid Cudi said true. Prosecutor Emily Johnson decided to redirect examine, sorry, I can't speak right now, Kid Cudi. Johnson asked what Ventura had told Cudi about the physical abuse from Combs. He said, and I quote, that he hit her, sometimes kick her, but you still feel that she played you and played him? Testosterone is one hell of a drug, I tell you. On redirect, Cudi testified that Combs' employee, Capricorn Clark, called Cudi from outside his own house that morning in December 2011 and told him that Combs came to her apartment and physically forced her into the car. That's probably whose DNA was on that Molotov cocktail. Or on the car, wherever they got the DNA from. He said Cassie Ventura was really shook that morning, worried about Combs, finally knowing that we had been hanging out and that he had my address and he was probably going to go to my house. Cudi said he and Ventura broke up in December 2011 because the drama had become too much. He was concerned for her safety and his own, he said, because I knew Combs was violent. But you're still going to say under oath that she played the two of y'all. Court is out for lunch until 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. After lunch, Mila Morales, a former makeup artist for Combs and Ventura, is set to testify. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments.
White boys stand tall when they try to divide us. We break every wall.